Guys, today we're taking a look at one of the most hyped sneakers to drop this entire year. That also comes with an insane conspiracy theory involving YouTubers. Oh, and if you were one of the very lucky few people to actually get a pair, people will tell you you can't wear them. Here we have the box, which you're probably wondering, that shouldn't be the box that they actually come in. And yeah, you would be right. So obviously, I was not one of the very lucky few to actually get a pair. And as I was searching for a pair to make a review, one of you guys who watch the channel hit me up and said, do you want to borrow my pair? To which of course I said 100%. Thank you so much. So once again, Graham, appreciate it massively for letting me borrow your pair. But the really interesting thing about Graham's pair is that it came in this box, which is typically associated with regular golf shoes and Jordan 1 mids and lows. Whereas the box that it should have come in is this one, the reverse mocha Travis Scott Jordan 1 low box, which is all over sale with the brown Nike branding. So this is, I assume, a replacement box. So he won his pair through exclusive access straight from Nike. And as you can see over here on the size tag, the style code is exactly the same as the Travis Scott. Everything over there is perfectly fine. And when you open the box, you of course get the actual pair of shoes. You get the Nike Golf booklet, which is included with every Golf Jordan product. And of course, you get that signature pink Travis Scott paper, which has been on pretty much all of his collaborations. So here we have them, guys. The Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low Golf. And yes, this is a golf pair of shoes, which is something I never thought I would see from Travis Scott. I mean, unlike DJ Khaled, Travis Scott is definitely not known for golfing. So this immediately strikes me as a marketing shoe, something that Jordan Brand is trying to create in order to put more eyeballs on their golf segment. I mean, they took one of the most hyped sneakers that Jordan Brand has ever created and just made a golf version out of it. Now, surprisingly, despite this being a golf version, there's not that much that separates it from a regular pair of Travis Scott Jordan 1 Low. So the Jordan 1 Low Reverse Mocha, I think, is the best comparison for this pair of shoes. I mean, I assumed, considering that this pair of shoes comes with a little tag saying waterproof, that the materials would be significantly different. But when you feel both of these shoes in hand, they feel very, very similar, almost identical. Like if I was blindfolded, I don't think I would be able to feel the difference between the suede that you find on the Reverse Mochas and what you find on this golf version. So from a material standpoint, these two shoes are practically identical. The biggest separating factor between this pair of shoes and a regular pair of Travis Scott Jordans is of course the outsole. Even though it looks somewhat similar, it does have a much more exaggerated style. So it kind of sticks out a little bit more to give golfers a little bit more traction when they're on the golf course. It's still made of the exact same rubber that you find on a regular pair. However, it's just, again, like I said, a little bit more spiky to give you a little bit more grip. And even when you're wearing this pair of shoes, there's really not that much in it. It feels practically the same on foot as you would find with a regular pair of Jordan 1 Lows or Travis Scott. In fact, if we want to get a little bit extra nitpicky over here, I would say that I somewhat prefer the way that this traction pattern looks. Now, I know when you're wearing these things, you're hardly gonna see it, but because it is a little bit extra spiky, you can see some of that midsole a little bit more when you're wearing them, and that's just a look that I kind of prefer. The white leather overlay panels feel really nice and premium in hand. Again, if you've ever had this pair, the reverse mochas, you know that they did a really good job at adding really nice feeling material. And it is no different with this pair. All of the materials, the nice olive green nubuck that you find on here feels really, really soft. The leather feels durable and creases up really nicely. The giant backwards swoosh is also leather that comes in all over black, which I think is a really nice look. You've still got the cactus branding on the medial side of the shoe, and like I said, everything is pretty much identical. The only thing that changes up in terms of the upper is now you've got the golf branding. You've still got the cactus jack on the side, but yeah, now you've got a Jumpman with the golf text, whereas on the regular Travis Scotts, you have, of course, the Nike Air branding. This being a Travis Scott collaboration, you do get a plethora of extra laces. You've got a black color, a brown color, and finally, you've got a very light green color, which matches the tongue tag. Okay, so we've pretty much established materials are the same. Generally speaking, this is practically the same sneaker, but of course, this being a golf shoe, what you will find is a lot of people saying that if you're not a golfer, you shouldn't be wearing these. Now, the same exact thing was said about SB Dunks, that people who are not skaters shouldn't be wearing those shoes. And then, of course, you have the people on the other side of that using the example of, well, hey, if you're not a basketball player, you shouldn't be wearing Jordans. So honestly, I think that people can wear whatever they want. It's entirely up to you. All I'm going to say is that these are functional off of a golf course, and they feel pretty much identical to a regular pair of Travis Scott. And that goes for the sizing on these things as well. Again, they feel pretty much identical. So if I was you, if I had to give you guys a recommendation, I would stick with your true to size unless you've tried on Jordans and you typically don't go true to size, then just stick with that. Now, I guess let's talk about the conspiracy theories with this pair of shoes, or the general theme of why I feel like I've seen a lot of people just have a general bad taste in their mouths when it comes to this pair of sneakers. So look, I think we all knew that it was going to be extremely hard to actually get your hands on this pair of shoes for retail. Every time a Travis Scott collaboration drops, millions of people around the world are trying to enter. But what was so interesting about the release of this pair of shoes on the Travis Scott's website is that after the release, people started noticing that nobody actually won them, except for YouTubers who live streamed the drop for these. So the theory online about the release of this pair of shoes is that Travis Scott's team actually backdoored most of the pairs. But in order to not get any backlash about it, they sent these live streamers who were covering the release of these a checkout link which would allow them to purchase this pair of shoes. And they would obviously use this checkout link to buy this pair of shoes in front of everybody, showcasing that it is actually possible to get this pair of shoes and you're just one of the unlucky ones who didn't manage to win the raffle. Now, this obviously got a lot of people super mad at not only Travis Scott's team, but also the live streamers who were also involved. But as usual, whenever it comes to backdooring, we never really get the full story and we never really find out what is actually going on, and nobody's ever held accountable. Same thing with the Born and Raised dunks, the trophy room Jordan 1s. We see all of these stories, we see all of these pairs and rumors, but nothing ever comes of it. To my knowledge, Nike, Jordan Brand, any other retailer, they've never addressed the issue of backdooring. So we may never know, but I would love to know from you guys down in the comment section if you did manage to get a pair of these things through Travis Scott's website, or hey, even through Nike. I mean, I honestly really like this pair of shoes and I was anticipating not being able to get them for retail price, but I thought to myself, considering it's a golf shoe, the resale price is probably going to be a lot lower than some of the other Travis Scott Jordan 1 lows that we've seen. So I was kind of preparing myself that if I did really like this pair of shoes, I would end up just paying resale. But looking at the price of these things now, that is not something I'm going to do. These are super expensive and way more than I would actually like to pay for them. So again, huge thank you to Graham for letting me borrow these things, but I don't think it's a pair that I'm going to be adding to the collection, at least with the way that the prices are right now. I really like it. I like the black Nike swoosh, I like the leather panels, and I really like the way that this green look. Online, when it's super saturated and it is very green, I wasn't a big fan, but seeing them in hand, it's a lot more of a dulled down green color, which just makes it a lot more cohesive. So will these be one of the best sneakers that drop this year? Honestly, I don't really think so. I think when a sneaker release leaves a bad taste in so many people's mouths and they don't feel like they've had a fair chance at being able to buy these things, it does take away from the sneaker a little bit. I honestly think when people think back at this pair of shoes, they are going to remember all of the conspiracies and the stories that went along with it. I mean, hey, if you're someone who really doesn't care and you kind of thought to yourself, well, I was never gonna get them for retail anyway, then yeah, I would say this is a solid pair of Jordan 1s. Hey, if you've got the cash and you wanted another pair of Travis Scott's, or you wanted a pair of Travis Scott's, this is a solid colorway. I would maybe hold off a little bit from buying this pair just to see if those prices come down, because I do think they are very high now, and I think it's just because people didn't really expect them to be as limited as they ended up being. Now, I think it's also worth mentioning that this is supposed to be the final Jordan 1 Travis Scott collaborates on. So as far as we know, this is the final one that we're going to be getting. And hey, I would love to know your thoughts on this pair of shoes. What do you think of the sneaker itself? And also, what do you think of all of the conspiracies that have been floating around about the release? Drop your thoughts down in the comment section and click this video if you want to find out the top 10 best Jordan 1s of 2023.